In this video, we will talk about R notebooks. Previously, we talked about R scripts. But what about R notebooks? Well, R notebooks, also known as R Markdown notebooks, are files ending with .rmd or R Markdown. Compared to basic R scripts, they allow us to, firstly, write normal text alongside code. Secondly, interact with code within a single document. And thirdly, generate or so-called knit different types of files. For example, the course materials such as the notes and slides were generated using R Markdown notebooks. Let's try to create a new R notebook. Let's open up the file course.r project again, which can be found in the course materials that you downloaded. Click on this symbol and create a new R notebook. What you notice right away is that instead of a blank script, there's a template that is given. The first section of this template is what is called the header section with certain document parameters. For example, we have the title of this notebook and we have the type of output that will be created. In this case, it is a HTML file. Other than writing code, our notebooks allow us to have normal text within the same document. But beyond just text, we can actually format this text to your liking using what is called Markdown language. For example, we can have links and we can format the text to be italicized. You can actually click on this visual tab and see how it looks like. You have a link here, you have italicized text. Let's go back to the source tab. Scrolling down, we will see our first code chunk. The boundaries of code chunks are marked by triple backticks. This is the start of the code chunk, and this is the end of the code chunk. Within these curly braces, you see the letter R. This means that this is a code chunk for the R programming language. Here in the template, it says you can click the Run button or the Play button, and you'll be able to see the output within the same document. This is actually our very first function that you have run in R on the dataset called cars. Instead of using your mouse, you also can use your keyboard. On the Mac, hit Command-Shift-Enter or on Windows, Control-Shift-Enter. And it will run. Recall the previous video, we used Command-Enter on the Mac or Control-Enter on Windows to run that particular line of code. By adding the Shift key, we will run the whole code chunk. Scrolling down, the template tells us how to insert a new code chunk. So let's enter a few lines. You can click on this button and insert a new code chunk for the R programming language. If you want to use a shortcut, use Command-Option-I on the Mac or Control-Option-I on Windows. Moving down, we can preview the output of this notebook by hitting this button. Do note that you have to save the notebook before you're able to preview it. Let's call it test.rmarkdown and save it within the same directory as our R project file. Click it again. You will see the output of this R notebook in HTML file format. This is the title, we have the text, we have the code, we have the output of the code, and we have some of our code chunks that we previously created. Do note that there's a difference between preview and the knit button, and this is explained within the template. The preview shows you a rendered HTML copy of what is within the editor, so what is here. On the other hand, the knit button runs all the code chunks within the notebook and regenerates the output. You can do that here. So to recap, our notebooks include a header section that specifies the document parameters. They also allow you to include both normal text and code chunks within the same document. You may click on the links in the slide to look up parameters that can be specified for both the document as well as for each code chunk. Before we end this video, let's prepare our coding environment for the rest of this section. As mentioned earlier, save your R notebook to the top level folder where your course materials are located. In other words, the root directory of the downloaded course materials. This is also where the course.r project file is located. If you want to, You can also create an entirely new R notebook and save it there. We will be using this R notebook for coding practice for the rest of the lecture. By saving it in the root directory, this allows you to run the code as displayed in the slides without having to change any file paths. If you want to, you can also open up the R notebook week1.r markdown that is found within the notes folder of the course materials. This may be useful as you follow along with the coding exercises. Alright, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video where we will talk about RStudio projects.